Okay, guys, welcome to session number 7. This session is going to be looking at solving quadratics. So, last couple of sessions have been on factorising and completing the square, and now we're going to be using that as well as the formula for solving quadratics. Okay, right, here we go, straight into the lesson then. Right, so solving quadratics. Again, this is a bit of a review from GCSE. Now, there's going to be 4 ways of solving quadratics, and what I would recommend is that you do them in this order. So the first thing you want to look for is factorise. So the first tool you want to be trying to do is you're trying to solve these by factorising. If factorising doesn't work, your next move is to try and complete the square. Okay. Third option, I suppose final option, would be to use the formula. Okay, and number 4, and this applies to all of them, check using the calculator, and I'll show you how to do that in this session as well. Okay, so they're the 4 options. Now sometimes it will force you to choose one of the options. But if it doesn't, it doesn't matter what option you choose, but that would be my recommended order of trying to solve quadratics. Okay, we're going to have a look at a few examples. So, e.g. 1, solve x squared equals 6x. Okay, now what you might be tempted to do is divide by x. Now, that is not allowed because x could be 0. Okay, so don't divide by x. A lot of people I see would do this. They'd say, okay, x must equal 6 because you divide both sides by x. It's not wrong, but you're missing a solution. So that is not the correct way of doing this. Third thing you should do is you should get it equal to 0. And then you can choose any one of these options, but this one does factorise quite nicely. So then factorise, and that means you can take x out. Okay, and then either x will equal 0 from that solution or that bracket, or x minus 6 must equal 0, because one of them's got to be 0 in order to get 0 as an output. So therefore x equals 6. So your final answer there, x is going to equal 0 or 6. Okay, 2 possible answers there. And you can check by putting that back into the original. Okay, so that's example number 1. e.g. 2, let's solve this one. Let's go x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Okay, so it's already equal to 0, so that was always my first step. I'm going to solve this in a number of ways. So I'm going to solve it first by factorising, because this one does factorise. Okay, now if I was to factorise this, it's got to multiply to 8, add to 6. I'm going to get x plus 4, x plus 2, and then x is going to equal negative 4 or negative 2. Okay, that's option 1, probably the best option for this particular example. I'm now going to solve the same one. Again, you pause the video if you want to give this a go by completing the square. Okay, so if I was to solve this by completing the square, I would end up, if I complete the square for this, I get x plus 3 squared minus 3 squared, so minus 9. 8 equals 0, so that's completing the square on the left-hand side. So if I solve x plus 3 squared minus 1 equals 0, and add 1 to both sides, I can now root both sides, which is quite nice. So I get x plus 3 is equal to the square root of 1. Remember, when you square root something, it could be plus or minus. So I get x plus, I then minus 3 from both sides, minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 1. So that means it's going to be minus 3 minus 1, so minus 4, or minus 3 plus 1, which is minus 2, and that very nicely compares well with my factorising. Okay. Right, option number 3, our sort of last resort, is using the formula. Now I've got x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. The formula, which you don't get given at A level, is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, a is equal to 1, that goes in front there. B is equal to 6, and C is equal to 8. Okay, now if I'm going to plug this in, a little bit of a tip how I would do this in my calculator. There's a couple of ways of doing it. So I'm going to actually just put it in negative alpha b plus square root alpha b squared. I'm typing it in algebra so I don't make any mistakes. A, C, all over 2a. Okay, I'm now going to press the calc button. So press the calc button there. Right, now it tells me what does it want my b value to be. My b value is 6. My a value is 1. And my c value is 8. And then if I press equals again, that's my first solution. So minus 2, x equals minus 2, or go back into my calculator. All I need to do is just change that positive there to a negative, and then I press calc again. Don't clear it, press calc again. 6, and it gives me the 4, minus 4 there. So that's a good way of doing it using your calculator. Again, we get the same answers, which is really good. What I want you to show you to do for any of these quadratics, you can always check your answer with the calculator anyway. So what I'm going to do here is if I go to menu and scroll down, this is the calculator, by the way. You have to have this calculator, the Casio ClassWiz 991EX. You have to have this for A level. But if I go down to the equation / function mode, I don't press equals to enter that. Polynomial, that's what a quadratic is. Degree means, so 2 is a squared, 3 would be a cubic, 4 would be a quartic. Press 2 because it's a quadratic, and then I just input my equation. So it's 1x squared 6x plus 8. And then if I press equals, first solution x1 is minus 2. Very good. Second solution is minus 4. So I know I'm right with that, which is really, really good. And it's this, please, I want to encourage you to use this check on your calculator. Okay. Right, that's now I'm going to do one more EG. EG2. 3 now, sorry. Solve 4x to the 4 minus 9 equals 0. Okay, so this one again, this is to the power of 4. So you could use my calculator as a check, but this you'll notice is a difference of 2 squares. Okay, so it's definitely a difference of 2 squares. 2x squared, and then it's going to be plus 3 minus 3 equals 0. Okay, I'm then going to just sort of solve. So either 2x squared plus 3 equals 0. Now if I solve this equation, let's just go through this. Or 2x squared minus 3 equals 0. So a minus 3 from both sides. Divide by 2. Square root both sides. Plus or minus the root of 3. Negative. Now, you can't square root a negative, certainly not a real solution. Those doing further maths will come on to complex numbers later in the course, but for now, this is no real solutions. Okay, there are some complex solutions, but that's not. So you can't, there's no answer there, but over on this side there will be. 2x squared is going to equal 3. X squared will equal 3 over 2. So x, if I root both sides, plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2. And that is exactly, you can leave it like that. Okay, that's the solution to that one. Again, we could have checked that in our calculator. But there we go, that's the solution I was after. Okay, this session, the worksheet looks slightly different, but I want you to do all the questions on the worksheet. It's a slightly different worksheet to the usual ones, and it will tell you. It's going to force you to practice all the different techniques that I've just demonstrated in this video. Okay, so that's the work for this session, and tune in for the next session, last session of the day, next one, shortly. Well done, guys.